All right, let's go ahead and get started. I am here for this crowd today. I love it. I love that we're all here at 11 a.m. on Zoom. So we can go ahead and get started. I don't want to take up a ton of y'all's time, but my name is Lindsay Philo, so I'm the coordinator for accepted students in Bearcat orientation, and I really appreciate y'all being here today. So thank you for taking the time out of your day. I know that y'all, everyone has been through a lot within the past week for our part 1 of 4 for our series. So we know that during times like this, a pandemic and then, random snowfall in the middle of Texas in February can be a little bit challenging. So getting that information can be hard, but we want to make sure that y'all all have accurate and timely information. So today we're going to be hearing from SHSU's Financial Aid and Scholarships Office and the different services that they offer. But before that, I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to my colleague boss, Jesse Bernal, and he's going to talk about how we're going to go throughout this presentation.
Thanks, Lindsay. So yes, my name is Jess Bernal, Director of Accepted Students in Bearcat Orientation here at Sam Houston State University, and we're really excited to have y'all here join us today for this presentation. You'll notice that we have enabled the chat feature, so if you want to click on the chat icon below, on your right-hand side of your screen, you should see a window that'll pop up. Feel free to drop any questions in there that you have throughout the presentation, and we'll do our best to answer those questions. And then we'll obviously leave time at the end of the presentation for you to ask any questions that you may have. So other than that, I will turn it over to our lovely ladies in financial aid.
Hi guys, so we're going to talk about financial aid and scholarships. My name is Chris, and then along with me is Ali Llamas. We're just going to give you an overview about financial aid here at SAM, and then if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. We'll get them answered as soon as we can. And then we also will have a little bit of time at the end of the presentation to answer any questions that parents or students may have. So I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, so of course we're going to be talking about financial aid and scholarships. I don't know. Okay, so how to apply for federal or state aid. If you are a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, then you would qualify for the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. And then you would access the FAFSA through studentaid.gov. If you're not a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, but if you are a Texas resident, then you would qualify for the TASFA. The TASFA is a paper form that you can access through collegeforalltexans.com. You would manually fill out the form and submit it to our office. You can submit it to us via fax, via email, or in person. Both applications will use 2 years priors. The prior year, which for the case of 2021-2022, you would use 2019 taxes for both the FAFSA and the TASFA. So whenever you log into studentaid.gov, this is how it does look. The website will tell you to start here if you're a new applicant, or if you're a returning student, it will allow you to log in using your FSA ID. It makes it easier for students who have already submitted a FAFSA before. It kind of saves your information from the previous year, but it does have to have accurate information. So you do have to update your FAFSA every year with making sure that you use the 2 years prior. Like I said earlier, for 21-22, you will use 2019's tax information and so on. So the important deadlines there are right now for FAFSA is that the application remains open all year round, but the priority deadline is November 1st. FAFSA opens October 1st, a whole year prior, and then the scholarships for CAS application open September 1st, a whole year prior as well. The FAFSA, anyone can submit the FAFSA. As long as you have an FSA ID, you add your school code and we'll receive it within the next 2 to 3 business days. As for the scholarships for CATs, you do have to be admitted. So getting admitted first and then getting your scholarships for CATS application submitted to our office by the priority deadline is the ideal way to apply for scholarships. The priority deadline for both application will be November 1st of the year prior. And what is the priority deadline? What this means is that your application will be reviewed first if you submit it by the priority deadline. So your application will be prioritized. This is the way to maximize your award package. You will be reviewed first for any scholarships or grants. They are limited, so we will look at the application completion date as in the order they're given out. So dependency status, if you are a dependent student, you do have to provide parental information on your FAFSA unless you can answer yes to one of the dependency questions. So if you're 20 years of age or older, if you're married, if you're working on your master's or doctoral, if you're active duty or veteran, if you have dependents other than your children or your spouse, if you are in the foster care or ward of the court, if you're an emancipator minor, legal guardian, guardianship or risk of being homeless, then you would, if you can answer yes to one of these questions, you would be considered an independent student. If you cannot answer yes to one of those questions, parents' information has to be provided on the FAFSA. So what if you do have a special circumstance that cannot be documented by using the FAFSA? You could contact our office. We could review your special circumstance. Special circumstance kind of varies. If you don't have contact with parents at all, if parents have experienced a reduction of income or a loss of income involuntarily, such as COVID-19, a lot of our families have been affected by this pandemic. You would simply call our office. We would talk a little bit about your situation, and we could potentially determine whether you'd be eligible for a special circumstance adjustment. We would, if you do qualify or seem like you may qualify, we'll send you a form and get you started with the process to hopefully get you awarded any Pell Grant if you haven't been done so already. So for the awarding process, once you do submit your FAFSA, we'll receive your FAFSA 2 to 3 business days after you have submitted it. 33 of those students that submit their FAFSA do get selected for verification. What this means is that they have to provide additional documentation to our office, such as tax returns, worksheets, and depending on their situation, their requirements may vary. You can access these requirements through your MySam account. You'll log into your MySam, view your My Account, click on My Account, financial aid requirements, and then select the academic year. All your requirements do have to be completed in order for you to be placed into the awarding process to receive federal aid. So whenever you log into your MySam and you select the academic year, it generates a list of the requirements that our office are requesting from you. And then the list do have links to the paperwork that we are requiring or requesting. So you can print those paperwork and then submit it to our office. Of course, we don't have access to your tax information. So if it does ask for your tax information, it will simply just let you know that we are requesting a specific academic or a specific tax year, and I will let you know which one exactly. And then how to check your financial aid status. Let's say we have received your documents we have received any requirements that you were needing to fulfill, you can check them through your MySIM. It will let you know how far along in the process are you, whether they've been received, whether they're pending, whether they have been reviewed, if they're complete or incomplete. If they're incomplete, students are required to call our office and make sure they stay up to date with their financial aid status to make sure everything is running smoothly. If anything's incomplete, we will let them know what exactly needs to be done or what exactly was missing on the paperwork for them to complete and be placed into the awarding process. If students are not selected for verification, they simply just get placed into the awarding process and they don't have to provide additional documentation to our office. But if they do, then these are the ways to provide the documentations to our office. They can provide it via email to fadocuments@shsu.edu. This is the preferred method. Whenever we receive your documentation, we'll get them processed within the next 1 to 2 business days. And we'll send them to the department they are needing to be sent to, such as verification, the loan department, scholarships, et cetera, et cetera. And then you'll, like I said, you will be able to see updates on your MySIM on how exactly that paperwork is being worked and processed, if it's complete or incomplete, or if it's approved or denied, etc. You can also fax it to our office. We have our fax number right here. We do have also an alternative fax number if for some reason you can't get into our fax machine. If you can't send it, if it sends an error message, you can just call our office and ask for the alternative. And then the other method we have is in person. This is my second favorite, is in person, only because if you have any questions, we are there to help you. We have if you submit verification documents, they're going to be worked on the spot, and you're going to receive a notification or an update by the verification specialist right then and there. And it does take about 10 to 15 minutes for your documents to be worked on. But you'll receive a more immediate answer. So if your verification has been completed and you're good to go, you'll be placed into the awarding process, which can take 2 to 3 weeks. And then you'll receive an A notification through your MySAM email. And then you'll also be asked to either accept or decline your awards by logging into your MySAM and going to your award package and reviewing it. There's some awards that you may be gifted, such as grants and scholarships that you could accept. Also loans, we do have loans, so you do have full control of your loans. If you want to decrease a loan or increase the Parent Plus loan, for example, you can do so by contacting our office. So we'll ask you beforehand, before accepting your awards, you can adjust them to the number that you actually need. Or if you have any questions about how you can adjust them or how much exactly you may need, feel free to call us and we'll kind of sit down with you and talk to you about how much you potentially will need if your financial aid does not cover your full balance, if it does cover your full balance, et cetera, et cetera.
So once you receive your awarding package, you will be eligible to review your award overview. You will see the cost of attendance. Cost of attendance is a really big number. And what the cost of attendance is a budget that our office uses to not over award a student. And the cost of attendance includes tuition and fees, room and board, books and supplies, transportation, and miscellaneous personal expenses. This is an awarding package, awarding overview for students. Of course, every student award overview will look different. Every student will have a different cost of attendance and estimated family contribution. Of course, the cost of attendance is split 50% on fall and 50% in the spring. On the need calculation, it shows the estimated family contribution. This number is determined by the FAFSA application that the parents completed, parents and students completed. What this number determines, it's what type of aid the student is eligible for. There's two different types of aid. There's need-based aid and non-need-based aid. Scholarships, of course, are very important. Their scholarships are competitive. You are eligible to do our general application, which you can look at it, locate it at scholarships for CATS. It's about 24 questions long. The deadline was February 14th, but you are still eligible to complete that scholarship for CATS application. We do have grants for the need-based aid, which is Pell, state grant, Texas grant. The subsidized loan has a 2.75 interest rate. That, of course, the subsidized loan does not accrue interest during school, work study, as well as a need-based aid. If a student is eligible for work study and doesn't see it in their awarding package, the student can call our office so we can review their account to see if they're eligible for work study. A non-need-based aid is an unsubsidized loan with a 2.75 interest rate. The unsubsidized loan does accrue interest rate as soon as loans pay out. The Parent Plus loan, of course, it's a 5.3%. It could be more, it could be less. Of course, the Parent Plus loan is optional, and it is a credit-based loan and a merit-based scholarship. These are the annual loan limits. A dependent student annual loan limit as a freshman, they're only eligible to receive $5,500. A sophomore, $6,500, juniors and seniors, $7,500. Independent student annual loan limit, a freshman is $9,500, sophomore $10,500, and juniors and seniors $12,500. For example, if a student is the freshman in the fall and they receive $5,500 and they become a sophomore, they're classified as sophomore in the spring term, the student is eligible to increase that loan for $1,000 because of that classification change. So the student can call our office so we can verify that they are a sophomore. After accepting your loans, there's several requirements that are needed. The newest requirement is the annual student loan acknowledgement. This must be completed every single year. It assists students making informed choices about federal student aid, and it provides information on current balances for repayment. The loan acknowledgement will be open at the end of June to complete the requirement. Of course, the Parent Plus loan. The parent must apply using their FSA ID. And of course, they have to do a separate master promissory note. Remember that the Parent Plus loan, it is a credit-based loan. It allows, it helps, it's additional aid that students will be eligible to use if the Parent Plus loan decides that. And of course, the Parent Plus loan can be increased up to the budget. The application for the 2021 and 2022 academic year opens April 15th. So if you already did the Parent Plus application, that is invalid. The application for the 2021-2022 will open April 15th. And of course, both requirements you will locate in the studentaid.gov website. Something very important to know for eligibility for financial aid is the satisfactory academic process. Students have to have a minimum of grade point average 2.0 GPA and a completion rate of 67. What completion rate determines is all completed hours divided by all attempted hours. If the student reaches the 180 hours attempted hours, they considered ineligible for federal aid. How to contact us? Of course, you can call our office. Or you can come and stop at our building. We are located in the Estill building by the Visitor Center on the second floor. Of course, we are doing virtual appointments with several counselors. So you can always do a virtual appointment, or you can come to the office and we can do an appointment in our office. And we will show our website with all of the great information we have.
We have recently updated our website. The changes we made were to allow our students to be only no more than 3 clicks away from our main page. So for example, if you have any questions about the cost of attendance here, you would click on cost. What is the cost of attendance? And it'll give you a good overview of exactly what is the cost of attendance and what does it include. Keep in mind that the cost of attendance is an average estimate of how much it could potentially attend here, how much it could cost to attend here at Sam Houston. It is not what you will owe. What you will actually owe will be given out by the cashier's office to all the students who have registered for classes, who have enrolled into to room and board, and also have a parking pass on their account, things like that. So what they actually have been enrolled into or have registered for, that's what the cost of attendance or the account balance here at Sam Houston will consist of. The cost of attendance is actually just the average of how much it would cost to attend here at Sam Houston, and it is the max number that we can award a student. So it shouldn't cost them more to attend here at Sam Houston than what their cost of attendance is for the academic year. So if you have questions about our forms, you can go to forms, printable forms. For next year, if you have questions about the income tax worksheet, for example, as a dependent student, we do have an example of exactly how we would like our students to fill out these worksheets. We need their names, we need their SAM IDs. If any marks, any whiteouts have been made to the form, we need an initial by every single mark out or whiteout or scratch out. For dependent students, we'll need section A, the student section filled out. If student did not work, then they will select did not work. If they did, they will select one of the two of whether they have filed their tax returns or did not file their tax returns. And then of course, it will ask for the parent section as well. I will give an example that students do have to sign the worksheet along with parents. Both do have to date their worksheets as well. Let's see. Now, if you're wanting to submit documents, you can go to submit documents. It'll give you the website, or not the website, the email of exactly where the documents need to be submitted. It does have to come from the student Sam Houston email, and they do have to be in PDF or JPEG form. So here's a little checklist of exactly to make sure you are submitting documents to our office correctly. We do not respond to any external emails. So if parents are emailing our FA documents email, they will not respond. Parents can email us so they can email counselors, but the information we can provide to parents is very limited. Students, of course, if they email us from their Sam Houston email, they have full access to their own information. They are more than welcome to email us, and we can provide them any answers for any questions that they may have. And of course, we have instructions depending on what type of phone you have, how to create your documents into PDF form. They do have to be, like I did mention before, in PDF or JPEG form. And then also, if you go back, you can schedule virtual appointments with us. It will take you to the student's MySam account. It will instruct the student to go to the MySam account and then the sign in, of course, using their Sam Houston email, and then make an appointment with us. Parents are allowed to join as long as students are there. And we will sit down on one-on-one meeting with our students and parents to go over any specific questions that the student or parent may have, depending on their situation and their award package. And that's all we have for y'all today. Did y'all have any more questions for us?
Yeah, I think we have quite a few questions in the chat if we want to start tackling those.
Okay.
Jesse and I were like, we have no idea how to answer these because this isn't what we do. So the first one we have was from Dawn, and so they asked, what should we do if our son only received a portion of their tuition, including loans, and we're still short by several thousands of dollars? So I guess kind of what are some other options a student can take other than just using financial aid?
You can always do an alternative loan. There's this website called elmselect.com that you can review all of the loans, alternative loans that our institution uses. Of course, you can always do the payment plan. Of course, the payment plan is 5 installments. You're more than welcome to do that as well. But an alternative loan you can do. If you filled out a FAFSA, you don't have to fill out a TASFA.
There is the option of the Parent Plus loan. Like we did mention, the Parent Plus loan is optional. If the parent doesn't want to take out a loan, that is okay. They could always pay out of pocket. The cashier's office does have a payment plan. But if they do wish to pursue the Parent Plus loan, the Parent Plus loan can be increased up to the student's budget, and that should be more than enough to help cover the rest of the student's balance.
Okay, and next question I got was, how long does it take for financial aid packets to be processed?
So that can depending if you have been selected for verification or not. So if you have been selected for verification, of course, we won't be able to place you into the awarding process until all the documents have been received and everything is complete. If you are not selected for verification, you automatically get placed into the awarding process. The awarding process does take 2 to 3 weeks for the student to receive an award notification.
And Chris, if we're selected for verification 1 year, are we selected for verification another year?
Not necessarily. If you are selected for verification 1 year, you could potentially not be selected for verification the following year. However, if you've been selected for verification 1 year, your chances of being selected for the following year are more likely. So.
And I did just want to let everybody know that we are recording this Zoom session. So if you missed something, came in a little bit late, it will be up on our website, and I will go ahead and email all of you that it is up there and with a link to that specific page. So y'all can go back and look at everything, pause, and do what you need to do. I think the next question we had was, is it necessary to fill out a FAFSA? So some people, they've said that they filled out a FAFSA and they didn't qualify for much. So what are the options for that?
For federal aid, yes, it is necessary to fill out the FAFSA. Let's say, for example, for students whose household have a higher income or have a lower household size, their EFC is going to be a little higher, and maybe they're not eligible for the Pell Grant, but they will be eligible for the unsubsidized and the Parent Plus loan. It just means they won't be eligible for need-based aid, such as the Pell Grant and the subsidized loan.
And when it comes to scholarships, when are those awarded? And is it too late for an incoming freshman or an incoming student to fill out those scholarships now?
The scholarships have already been awarded. Those recipients have received emails. Of course, the closing date was February 14th, but that general application is still open because there's some departments that haven't said what student's going to receive that scholarship. Of course, scholarships are very competitive, so definitely recommend incoming freshmen to contact their high school counselor to look at external scholarships.
Yes, external scholarships would be the alternative option. As for scholarships, maybe if you missed the deadline this semester or for the 2021-2022 academic year, the priority deadline or the applications will open very soon, September and October of this year for the following academic year, which is 22-23. That sounds weird to say because it's just so far along in the future, but the application does open a whole year prior. So therefore, the application for 22-23 will be open this October and this September. Both applications will be due November 1st if you want to maximize your student's award package. Now, just keep in mind, although if you submit both application by the priority deadline, it doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to be guaranteed a scholarship or guaranteed a grant. It heightens your chances of receiving a scholarship or grant. Of course, they're competitive. They are limited funds, so it is a first come, first served base application.
And if people need to change their to make amendments to their FAFSA because of COVID income reductions, things like that, what can they do for that?
They would call our office. Sorry, Chris. They will call our office. They can speak to our phone crew, and then they will just transfer to a counselor. We can talk about the situation of the reduction of income, and then we will send over a worksheet if the parent and student are eligible for a reduction of income. Of course, that worksheet does not determine if it was approved. It could be approved. Of course, after there's 2 sections, so they will receive one worksheet, and then of course our special counselors will review that, and then if they're eligible for their expected family contribution number to decrease, then they can move forward to section B, and they will send information for that.
Okay, perfect. And then we're getting a lot of questions just about scholarships for CAT. So I think my understanding of it is that it is kind of a very broad application, and then some students will qualify for specific, specific scholarships, but some of them will have, a grade point average, cut off or things like that, or you need to be a sophomore in order to get this, but they are pretty fluid. So are there different times when I can apply for something now, but I can also apply for something a little bit down the road? Is that a good understanding?
So the general application, what that means is that it gets sent, your application when submitted, it gets sent to all departments. So the general application is the main application, but each student also gets a application under the general application that is specific to their department. So they can, some students will actually get to fill out 2 applications, but of course the most important one will be the general application, and does get sent out to all departments for them to be reviewed. You do not necessarily have to receive a scholarship from your own department. You could potentially receive a scholarship from another department. Maybe you just caught their eye, and then they decided to award you a scholarship. It would just depend on the committee, of course. And then you had another question. Sorry, the second part of the question.
Oh, I was asking, like if scholarships for CATs, if I'm going to apply for something right now, but maybe a professor tells me about a scholarship that I might qualify for a little down the road, and I can do that as well.
Then in that case, yes, as long as you have the general application, you could potentially be reviewed for a scholarship. If a professor specifically asks you to fill out a scholarship, that's a good sign, I think. We don't really have much control over that. At that point, your responsibility would be to submit your scholarships for CATS application, and then let your professor know you submitted it, and maybe hopefully from there, y'all can move forward to see if you could be a potential recipient.
Okay, perfect. Let's see.
And then how can we add work study to the financial aid award? So if you were not automatically awarded work study, it could be two reasons. It could be either we ran out of funds, or you were not eligible, or we just didn't catch you, or three reasons. So you could call our office and we can let you know whether you're eligible for work study. And if you are eligible for work study, we'll give you instructions of exactly how much you're eligible for. And then also we'll give you instructions on how to pursue that. You would have to create a handshake profile to start applying for jobs. We would grant you access to work study jobs. But of course, you would first have to notify us for us to start that process for you, and first check your eligibility to see if you're eligible for work study.
Okay.
When do we get the award package? My child is already accepted. So if your child did submit their FAFSA, we should have received it 2 to 3 business days after it was submitted. So checking the MySam account would be your next step at this point, to make sure that your child is not being selected for verification. If they are selected for verification, they have to complete that. If not, they should be on the awarding process already, and potentially they have already been awarded. So the next step right now is checking your MySam account to make sure, or to check the status of your financial aid.
Of course, once you receive your awarding package, you have to accept the terms and conditions in order to accept any awards. So the terms and conditions are very important. It talks about Title IV. It talks about
do this.
how you will pay for school and what you're going to do for school. Once you've accepted the terms and conditions, then you can move forward to accept your awards. You can either accept or web decline. Of course, if you accidentally web decline the unsubsidized loan and you want that unsubsidized loan, you can call us back and a counselor can actually re-offer you that unsubsidized loan. So for example, if you declined a loan, a grant, you can call our office, but we can't guarantee you that that grant will be there for you, which is a TPEG grant. So if a student web declines that TPEG grant, it will automatically go to another student because that funds will be open to another student. So we can try our best to see if we still have fundings for that TPEG grant. If not, then you're not going to be eligible for that TPEG grant. So make sure you review your awards. You can always do a virtual appointment with counselors or come to our office and we can review your awarding package together.
There's a question also, are there scholarships based on SAT or ACT scores, and what is the score that is required to receive a scholarship? We don't have that information. We're not sure if scholarships or if the departments actually look at SATs or ACTs. If you do have a question about that, I would advise you to contact the departments to ask them and be sure. We do award the scholarship, but we're not part of the process of the selecting the scholarships recipient. And then can I still apply for scholarships? You may. It's a little late right now, but if you want to potentially receive something later, if anything does open up, go ahead and submit scholarships for CATS application. You're more than welcome to do so. Can a Parent Plus loan be used to cover any unmet need? Yes. So the Parent Plus loan can be used. So the Parent Plus loan, yes, can be used, can be increased up to the student's budget. Let's say the student has a remaining balance and that and the Parent Plus loan would be the option to help cover the remaining balance. The parent could apply if approved. Then we would go ahead and award the student. If they need to increase it, of course we can increase it. If they need to decrease it, of course we can also do that as well. There also, keep in mind, there's a payment plan that the cashier's office offers, if that's an option. That's a option I used to use personally. So feel free to kind of just use all the resources that you have to help cover your students' account balance as well. And then,
Of course, for the receiving award package, but I wasn't able to apply for the Parent Plus loan. The Parent Plus loan application is open for the 2021-2022 after April 15th. So make sure if the parent wants to apply for the Parent Plus loan, they have to apply after April 15th. Of course, they have to use their FSA ID. If the parent uses the student FSA ID, our system will not accept that application. So make sure that parents log in with their own FSA ID to complete that application, as well as that master promissory note. Of course, something new, that annual loan acknowledgement, that will be open and available for students at the end of June.
okay, someone did ask, what is the 5,500? The 5,500 that we talked about earlier, the Ali went over, those are the subsidized loans based on how much need you have in your budget, and also based on your classification. As your classification goes up, your subsidized loan also goes up. As a freshman, dependent students are eligible for 3,500. As a sophomore, 4,500. Juniors and seniors are the same. They're both eligible for 5,500. So that is where the 5,500 came from.
Tina asked that my FAFSA says that the parent contribution is 98,000. So that number comes from the student's FAFSA application. So that is the parent's income information that was added to the FAFSA. Of course, that every student has a cost of attendance number, which is the budget, which you can increase the Parent Plus loan, of course, get an alternative loan. And of course, if the student is eligible for a scholarship, that will be added as well.
Students who are living off campus. So for students who are living off campus, generally compared to the ones who are living on campus, the ones on campus, it will show the room and board on their account balance, which their financial aid will help cover that balance. As for the students who are living off campus, their room and board are not going to be charged on their account balance, of course, because they're not living on campus. So financial aid will cover their classes, parking permit, et cetera, et cetera. And then whatever is left over, financial aid will be issued to the student as a refund if they have enough financial aid that help cover their account balance plus a little bit of a surplus. That will be issued to the student as a refund, and they could use that to help cover any off-campus expenses such as utility bills, rent, etc., or even food, water, things like that. If they need to increase the refund, that's where the Parent Plus loan also comes into play. So there's different ways you can work around for students who are living off campus and on campus. Generally, the ones on campus don't get a refund. Usually their financial aid helps cover their full balance. Off-campus students, sometimes they do get a refund, and it helps cover their rent off campus, as well as their utilities and food, and any miscellaneous expenses that they may have. And freshmen, I believe it is mandatory for them to live on campus. They cannot live off campus.
Is that correct, Lindsay?
Yeah, so there's actually a waiver that they can fill out if they live within 50 miles of the university. But y'all can contact our office at accepted@shsu.com for questions like that.
And then, so is the SHSU grant the same as the FAFSA or Pell Grant? No, they are different. The TPIG or Bearcat grant, there are state grants. And then the Pell Grant is a federal grant, two different types of grants. Pell Grant are, if you're eligible for it, you're entitled to it, you're going to receive it. As for the state grants, those are just depending if you qualify, if there's any funds available, how soon did you submit your application, et cetera, et cetera.
Where can you find the awarding process? You can actually look at the awarding process in our financial aid website. Of course, you can, if you're looking for your aid notification, of course, our website is designed to do 3 clicks away. So if you click on the aid notification, it will send you to the proper screen to review your awardings. Of course, you will know when things are pending, when things are requesting, when things are incomplete, and when things are completed. Once you're completed, depending on your awarding groups determines how fast you're going to be awarded. So for example, if you're a freshman student, you will be awarded as a freshman package, and then you will receive that notification from the email.
Yeah, so if y'all have any more questions, feel free to call our office. I see a lot of specific questions that we cannot answer because it would just depend on the situation. Feel free to call our office, schedule a Zoom appointment with us. You can find all our contact information via our website. Feel free, we are here to help you. We love to help our students. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us and we'll answer you and guide you through any process that you may be facing with financial aid.
Will my daughter be awarded loans?
I have one more question for y'all. So what would be your best advice to a parent or family member or even to a student on getting the best or the most out of their FAFSA financial aid? Mine would be to turn it in as early as possible. I actually went to Sam Houston. So if you think that you're early, you're probably right on time. So everything kind of is, we work a year ahead or a semester ahead. So if it's either financial aid or, advising, it's always way earlier than you think it will be. So I would encourage your student to just check those dates constantly and check their Sam Houston email constantly, because that is where all their communication is going to go to. That Sam Houston email is their default communication for us. So if they haven't set that up yet, they probably have a couple of emails that they haven't looked at.
So yes, the faster you do your FAFSA application, the best. That priority deadline is very important. Of course, first come, first serve on the grants. Texas grant, TPEG, any of those grants are first come, first serve. And of course, the student has to be eligible for those grants.
Correct.
So if you did not get a question answered, or you do have a pretty specific personal question, specific to your student situation or your situation, go ahead and will y'all put y'all's email into the chat so that they can go ahead and reach out to you all. We will also put ours in the chat so that we can get you into the correct place. I do also want to pub that our office with accepted students is offering accepted student mentor meetings for your student to meet with a current student who works in our office and is knowledgeable on, Sam Houston and the different offices that we have around. And so they can meet with them via Zoom, for a 30-minute meeting. Our student can give them links, to financial aid, to their website, to advising, different things like that to kind of get them on the right track. I know a lot of y'all had different questions about parking or about, cars on campus, things like that. Our students can answer all of that. And that way we can go ahead and get everybody in the right place. But I think sometimes the hardest part is just starting and figuring out where to start, especially, with financial aid. But we appreciate you all being here. We will put this recording up onto our website and email it out to you all. The link to the website. And then our next Zoom event will be next month. And so we'll be emailing you all about that as well. And of course, same thing, that one will be recorded as well and be put on our website. I know that sometimes the middle of the day, you know, there's no perfect time to have an event. So if you do miss it, that's totally fine. Just let us know, but it will be available on our website.
Yes, we're all students are eligible for financial aid. If you've been selected for a verification, just remember you just have to submit those documents to be placed into the awarding process. Some students think they're not eligible because they've been selected for verification. That's not true. It just means you have to submit those documents to our office.
And I went ahead and put the our office email. It's accepted@shsu.edu, and that is a great email. Even if you are trying to get to financial aid, go ahead and just email us and say, hey, how do I talk to financial aid about this? And my students will, or myself will go ahead and get you to where you need to go. Financial aid, what was y'all's email one more time?
Mine is in there.
Mine is axl060@shsu.edu.
Yeah, and so on our follow-up email with the link to this video, we'll go ahead and put everybody's contact information just so it's there for y'all, easily accessible. But yeah, we thank you all for being here today. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. We hope everybody's safe, and we will see you next month.
Thanks, guys.
Bye,
Thanks.
guys.
Hey, Lindsay,
Yeah,
can you give me the count of how many people attended the?
yeah, I got you. And I'm gonna I'll send you a report of how many people, and then I'll if I had anybody asking for specific questions, I'll give you all their contact information too.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Have a good one.